What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 19 of the Diego Colley Football Show. And what a weekend. What a weekend it was. What a Sunday it was, especially for the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm going to get it right into it and start there. Recording this Monday. I was going to record last night and I was thinking, and I was like, I want to just see what this game, what the national reaction is the next day, in case there's any trade in the morning. And I mean, it hasn't really disappointed. It's a lot of talk, the most talk that I've seen about the Seahawks all season, nationally, everywhere. The Seahawks are legit contenders. The Seahawks dominated the Washington Commanders on Sunday Night Football. This is a Super Bowl contender. This is one of the best teams in the NFC. Them and the Rams, the two best teams in the NFC. Sam Darnold is an MVP candidate. It all has lived up to the hype. And I mean, where do I even start with this game? There's so many places you can go. Because, I mean, the story of the game was Sam Darnold, I think. Sam Darnold was 16 for 16 in the first half, 270 yards, I believe. And I don't even know. You have to say he was the most impressive part of the game. He finishes with 330, 21 for 24, 4 touchdowns. Just absolutely, that's a masterful performance. He was near perfect yesterday. He was perfect in the first half, near perfect in the game. If you go to the second half, he throws that interception. Well, and the guy that was open, he's just trying to make something happen with his arm. But this was a full team performance. And, it's been something that a lot of people have been saying, I've said it myself, I wanted to see this team play a complete football game. I wanted to see the offense play like we know the offense can and the defense dominate like we know the defense can. And that's what happened in this game. That is exactly what we got in this game. The offense was elite in the first half. They had 5 scoring drives, 4 touchdowns, one field goal. They're up 31-7 going into the half. They allowed 1 touchdown, and that was a drive at the end of the half. You're up 28 points. This game was over in this second quarter. Like midway through the second quarter, this game was absolutely over. And watching the game, weirdly before the game, I said to my friends, I was like, I don't feel any nerves for this game. Like I feel weirdly good going into this. And sometimes that feeling can end up being wrong very quickly, and it was not. There was never a single cent of stress coming from me during this football game. The defense comes out and everything, even from the first drive to 6-play drive of the Commanders, and you could just tell it wasn't going to be an easy night for them. Everything Jaden Daniels was doing, every time he dropped back to pass, he'd look around, there'd be nothing open, he'd have to run, and he had nothing there. And even when he ran, he was fighting to get a few yards on a scramble and just have a positive gain. There was no receiver threat. Ertz had a few catches in the first half those were they're big converters, but there was no even deep shot, even ball pushed down the field where I was like, oh, they're testing them deep down there because there was nothing open. And the D line, absolutely, the whole defense dominated. Ty Okada had a hell of a game. First career interception. It was just complimentary all around. This defense had 6 sacks, 32 total pressures. That is unheard of. Leonard Williams had 6 pressures himself. Drake Thomas had 2 and a sack. Byron Murphy had 2 and a sack. DeMarcus Lawrence had 4 and a sack. It was like every time, even when they weren't blitzing, they were making it so hard on Jaden Daniels. He had nothing. He could not do anything last night. And the injury is really unfortunate, really sad. But, I mean, as far as injuries go, a left elbow injury, they should probably, they're not a good team this year. I think they should probably just shut him down no matter what. There's no need to bring him back at the end of the season. But on the terms of gruesome injuries, it was gruesome. It was hard to watch. But in the whole hindsight of his career, you'd take that over a leg injury or an injury to the throwing arm any day of the week. But I just can't get over how dominant the Seahawks were last night. It was it was what we have been waiting for. Their first drive of the game, 12 plays, 90 yards. They got themselves into a 1st and 25 situation. This is when I knew it was going to be a good night, I feel like. 1st and 25 in the first drive of the game. And usually, I think I said it out loud, that's a drive killer. It was a Robbie Utes chop block. And it's 1st and 20, that kind of puts you in a punt situation. And they go to JSN for 13 yards. They get a false start. So it's still 2nd and 17. JSN for 14 yards and AJ Barner for 8 to convert that. Just explosiveness. And I thought Clint Kubiak called it a fantastic game. The creativity with JSN last night, to have all these like, moving him in the backfield, having him moving around, like the create, like their wide receiver 2 was out in this game. Cooper Kupp did not play. And I saw a tweet before the game. It was like, this is the Seahawks receiving core: JSN, Torrey Horton, Cody White, Ricky White. And it didn't even matter. Torrey Horton, 2 touchdowns. If he can be that explosive deep threat this season for the Hawks, oh my gosh, even when Cooper Kupp comes back, that is dangerous. Cody White tags along his first touchdown of the year, of his career. A play where he catches the ball, breaks a tackle from the safety, and goes up the sideline. There's so many places you can talk, people you can talk about with this team, that just domination. They dominated the Commanders on Sunday. They were 2.5-point favorites. They won by 24 points. It was never close. Like, this is like, I had a smile on my face the entire game because wow. I want to focus on the defense for a little bit, just overall on the grand scheme of things. Since Julian Love goes on the IR, and I mean, personally, I'm thinking we're gonna have to watch Tyler Cotta start 4 games, and he's been okay, but he was a steady presence in the defensive backfield last night. And seeing all these guys healthy, I mean, Joe goes down with a concussion, which is really unfortunate. But on that first drive, the Seahawks were playing some dime. They had 6 DBs in the game, and Ernest Jones is the only linebacker. And I mean, that's dangerous. You got Nicky Manwari playing like in the box type of, like, kind of taking that second linebacker role. Tariq Woolen in the game, Josh Jobe, Devin Witherspoon, Ty Okada, Kobe Bryant. Like, that is lethal, a lethal defensive backfield. And I want to shout out Tariq Woolen. I got to say, I don't want them to trade him. I really do not. I thought he played a great game. PFF reflects that. 88 grade in coverage, 82 overall. Had a few big tackles. There was a sequence at the end of the game when he makes a tackle on 3 plays in a row. Like, when has Tariq Woolen ever done that? He pushes a guy down, flexes on him. Like, I'm perfectly fine with that. Go do that, Reek. Like, so many guys you can call out. Devin Witherspoon, having him back was just felt so good to see him running around and making plays and playing with energy. That was awesome to see. Tyrese Knight came in relief when Ernest Jones went down and led the team in tackles, had 9 tackles. Have to talk about the Ernest Jones injury. The best news you could get. It's not a season ender. But going into tomorrow's trade deadline, I would have to think the linebacker is a position of need. Even not a crazy, like, I'm not saying make a blockbuster trade for a linebacker, but you need some sort of depth, because who's your backup linebacker now for the next few weeks if Jones can't play, which is what it kind of seems like it's going to be for at least for a little bit. There's trade out to be made, and all the headlines we've heard is that we're going to be aggressive. So at the point I am, I mean, Mike McDonald was on Brock and Salk today, and he didn't shut down anything like, oh, we're going to see what happens. He was like, who knows? We're looking. I don't know what his exact wording was. He like kind of joked to like, yeah, they're announcing a trade right after the interview. I'm at the point where if they don't make a trade by tomorrow, I'm going to be a little disappointed. Just all these reports we've heard. Jay Glazer said the Seahawks are being really aggressive. Adam Schefter on Pat McAfee today said that the Seahawks are a team to watch. So, I mean, give me something. Give me anything. I'd like to see 2 or 3 trades. There's a lot of positions that they can fill depth at. A lot of positions that would make a good acquisition there would be huge. The Eagles are out there making trades. They made 3 trades in their bye week. They get Jair Alexander, Michael Carter II from the Jets. So that's 2 corners there, and then they trade for Jalen Phillips this morning. They're looking for a pass rush. I would take a depth pass rusher. I would take the ranking of who my positions of needs. I'd say a lineman if he's out there. If there's a bad team that's looking to sell on an old veteran lineman, I will take it. A guard or a center. A safety. A kind of a depth safety, a middle linebacker in pass rush. You can never have enough pass rush. I hope they don't trade Reek. There was a report that said they were looking to maybe, people were calling about Boye Mafe. If they were to do that, I'd be fine with it if they went out and got another guy, because Boye Mafe is a guy that's going to need to be extended after this year, and I just don't really know if I want to do that. Watch him, and he played 27 snaps last night, kind of even with all the other pass rushers, but I just he never really, when he gets sacks, he gets sacks. But other than that, I don't really see him making huge plays in the run game, making huge plays, getting major pressures on the quarterback. We had 1 pressure last night in a game where the D-line 8, Nwosu had 5, Derek Hall had 6. So I mean, that's one guy I'd be fine with seeing go. And yeah, I mean, just going back to the offensive side, they ran the ball well. They didn't even have to really run the ball that much, in my opinion. I thought that, I mean, obviously they were riding it all on Sam's arm, and they didn't need to get chunk runs, but they ran the ball to some decent success. I mean, K9 had a few just like decent length runs. He was 11 for 42, nothing crazy, but I feel like there was a few in there that were somewhat explosive. Elijah Arroyo was a bright spot, 2 for 29 in his first career touchdown. Like, that was a dot by Sam Darnold. On that same play, JSN absolutely cooks the cornerback on the bottom side of the screen. Darnold could have thrown 2 touchdowns there. Bray Zabel has, I believe I saw a 3.5% pressure rate this year, which is 6th among all linemen. Yeah, not a lot of sack this season. Has a 6th lowest QB pressure rate, 3.5% among all offensive linemen. And I'm looking at the PFF grades. He's now the second to last at 44.3, which like, I don't really understand. Grades out good in pass blocking, so 79.2, but on the run blocking side, 44.8. But I mean, he played a good game. Like, that's not telling me that I'm not going to believe that he played a bad game just looking at that. And graded out as an 8, damn near an 80 on his pass blocking in the game where they absolutely dominated passing the football. The Commanders secondary had nothing for these guys. Darnold, I want to shout out the offensive line while I'm on that note. So much of Darnold's success, obviously, it goes to Sam Darnold, but on so many of these plays, it was great. A great job by him moving through his progressions, going from 1, 2, 3. Like, but he had so much time. These were some of the biggest pockets I think I've seen all year in a game that the Seahawks played. He had the ability to go to his first, second, third, even fourth progression on some plays on multiple times. I'd say more than 5 times. And I mean, that great job to him, like not forcing anything, but he had so much space too. He was navigating the pocket well, moving around with his feet. Like, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I mean, there was so many things to be happy about in that game, man. It was just, they literally could have done whatever they want. I'm confident Clint Kubiak could have called any play on his play sheet, and it was gonna work out in success last night. AJ Barner gets in on the tush push on the goal line. I mean, I don't know how much more I have to say about this team. Abraham Lucas had a good game. Graded out of 72, 77 run block, 77 pass block. Jalen Sundell, 75, 70. Just overall, I mean, just seeing the backups come in the fourth quarter on a Sunday night football game, there's no better feeling than that. There is nothing better than that. I mean, just overall wrapping up, Seahawks got the Cardinals coming up this week, and then a huge battle against the LA Rams in LA in a game that is going to be for, like, if both these teams win next week, the Rams have the Niners, the Seahawks have the Cardinals. This is like who's going to be one of the top dogs in the NFC in that game, and that's a big spot to be in. That's a huge game. A lot of eyes going to be on that game. That's going to be 2 7-2 football teams if they both win next week, which I think they both should. Mike McDonald's won 10 straight games on the road. He's going to be putting that to the test. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs, a lot of national media watching that football game in 2 weeks in LA, and I cannot be more excited for that. So, I mean, just overall wrapping up the Seahawks, what a game. What a game and what a performance from the entire team. To the rest of the week, we'll start with Thursday Night Football. The Baltimore Ravens traveled to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins, and the Ravens did kind of what I thought they would do. This was an absolutely dominating performance from them, and this is like the Ravens team that people kind of expected early season, and now they're starting to build some momentum. And in an absolutely wide open division, I think they got back on track. Lamar was efficient, 18 to 23, 204 yards, 4 touchdowns. The Derrick Henry rushing yards, I think that's the most important thing from this game. 19 carries, 120 yards, showing like that's a prime Derrick Henry. That's a Derrick Henry that we've seen the last 2 years. Zay Flowers had 5 for 64, kind of a classic Ravens receiving attack, well-rounded. Zay Flowers, 5 for 64. Isaiah Likely, 3 for 60. Mark Andrews had 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Can't ask for more there. Charlie Kohler had a touchdown. Bateman had a touchdown. Like, that's kind of how when Lamar Jackson's playing well, he's spreading the ball around. It's not really like he's trusting one single guy. And the defense was stifling. I think that was the main kind of my takeaway from this was that the Dolphins offense, which won the game last week against Atlanta, put up 34 points, put up 6 points, and did they get in the end zone once? No, they did not get in the end zone once. They had 2 field goals. They couldn't do anything at all day. And Tua, I mean, this game feels like it was so long ago. I mean, just thinking back, Tua was awful. There was multiple plays where I'm watching, and it's like he gets some sort of pressure, goes to escape, and just the intentional grounding was really, really poor. Like a semblance, not even like a true pressure. There wasn't anyone directly in his face. He just tries to escape out left, takes a few steps, and just dirts the ball in front of him. And there's not a single person there. There's not a single person within like 5 feet of him. And he just panics. And like, if you're going to be a franchise quarterback, you're going to be paid like $55 million. You can't do that. You have to be trusted to be able to do stuff outside of the script. You can't be an NFL franchise quarterback and not be able to operate off script. I'm just looking at a guy like Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's not the most mobile, but he's made multiple plays this year where his first read hasn't been there. He's faced with a little pressure. And just the ability to move around a little bit and complete a ball on a big third down or just complete a pass down the field. Those broken plays are the things that make you your money. And quite frankly, Tua just never really showed his ability to make them. He gets flustered. He gets rattled. Mike McDaniel should be done. This is an embarrassing performance at home on primetime. Just awful all around. Kyle Hamilton was flying around for the Ravens. He was a monster. Like when he's running at you, if you're Tua, like that's the last thing you want to see. Is that dude running at you in the pocket. And the Dolphins are dead. They had some momentum against Atlanta, I guess, but this is kind of the Dolphins that we've started growing to learn to understand to be the team this year. It's just overall, I mean, the Ravens have an opportunity. They have a big opportunity. They're sitting at 3-5 right now. If they lost any of these last 2 games against the Bears and the Dolphins, it would have been kind of a backbreaker. If you get to 6 losses this early in the season, I think you're in a really rough spot. And now they go to Minnesota, who we'll talk about, had a hell of a win this weekend. Cleveland, New York Jets, Bengals, Pittsburgh, Bengals, New England, Green Bay, Pittsburgh. Those last 3 games are going to be tough games. Patriots, Packers, Steelers. But if they can get there, maybe winning 5 in a row, 6 in a row, maybe only losing 1 of the next 6, they're in a good spot. I mean, obviously that's no gimme. It's hard to win 6 games in a row in the NFL, but if they're playing like this, so they're going to give anyone a tough game, in my opinion. Chicago Bears and the Cincinnati Bengals. Who would have thought this was going to be arguably the game of the year? I think this was just such a great game from start to finish. I mean, the opening kickoff, it's a turn. The Bengals take it to the house. They go up 7-0, and the Bears offense in the first half especially was elite. I mean, over on the whole game, but this running game with Kyle Monangai out there. I mean, I get we're playing the Bengals, not probably the worst defense in the entire league, but 26 carries for 176 yards. I don't care who they're doing that on. That is so impressive. That isn't. And honestly, like there were some plays, like maybe this might be a bad take. I was like, I don't know if DeAndre Swift makes that run. I thought his vision was good. I thought he's running insanely hard. He would not stop moving his legs. Just overall, I mean, it was a absolutely textbook game from the Chicago Bears run game and the Chicago Bears offensive line. So this is the running back and the O line. And I mean, tack on the rookie tight end. You gotta love seeing what we saw from Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland was the 10th overall pick. I wouldn't say it was an insanely scrutinized pick, but I mean, when Tyler Warren was the next tight end taken, Tyler Warren, what he's done so far, Colston Loveland had a legacy game today. 6 for 118 and includes the game-winning touchdown where he bounces off 3 defenders, runs into the end zone because they did not want to trust Cairo Santos for that kick. Cairo Santos had looked shaky all day. He missed the kick. I believe he might have missed 2. And I mean, if you're a Bears fan, you don't want him to have to kick a 50-yarder for game. Just looking at these PFF rankings, I mean, Darnell Wright, right tackle, 94, 95 in the run game. Jonah Jackson, right guard, 91. Caleb Williams grades out at a 90. Ozzie Trebillo, that's the backup tackle, grades out at a 90 as well. Drew Dahlman, center, 84. Joe Tooney, left guard, 75. Just absolutely dominating in the trenches for the Bears. And on Caleb Williams, I thought Caleb played a pretty great game, to be honest. It's sitting at 20 for 34, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. I didn't think he put the ball in harm's way. I thought he was good on big downs. I mean, just that last drive, he makes the throw to Loveland over the middle of the field, and there's no timeouts. That's a risky ass throw, and he makes it. He's not trying to play safe and pushes to the outside. Throws a strike over the middle, and look what happens when you make a good throw like that. Also, he had 2 receptions. I mean, 2 receptions for 22 yards, 1 touchdown. The Philly special at the beginning of the game, which was fun, and then a throw from Bajan across the field. Ben Johnson was in his bag. He was having his way with the Bengals defense. And if you're on the Bengals side, how frustrating is this? I mean, T. Higgins, 7 for 121, 2 touchdowns. Jamar, 6 for 111, 0 touchdowns. Like, it's just a classic script. How do you score in back-to-back weeks 38 and 42, and you lose them both? Jamar Chase after the game, like, hating on the defense. Chase Brown finished the game. We did our job. I mean, they did. They recovered an onside kick, and they had to do was hold the Bears to don't let them move down the field. They have one timeout in like 40 seconds, and they couldn't do that. And they didn't even leave it to a field goal. I think that's the worst part about it. Joe Flacco throws for a career high. I mean, just absolute disaster for the Bengals. And I think that's kind of a killer for them. They're sitting at 3-6. They're now below the Ravens. It's inexcusable, to be honest. It's inexcusable, and it's just disaster. On the Bears side, I mean, they're sitting at 5-3. They're definitely in it. They're wholeheartedly in this fight. They got the Giants and the Vikings the next 2 weeks. If you get to 6-3, the Vikings is going to be a big game, revenge for that game early in the season. Pittsburgh, Philly, Green Bay, it gets tough. You got to get to 6-3, and you can make some stuff happen. But this defense is going to have to figure some things out. They are going to have to start forcing more turnovers again, because when they're not forcing turnovers, this is one of the worst defenses in the league. I mean, it was showed today. The Bengals have weapons, but they gave up 30 to the Ravens last week. When they're not getting turnovers, they really, really struggle. And if they want to win big games and win games against good teams, they can't get in shootouts every single game, because they're not going to be able to run the football as effectively as they did in yesterday's game. But what a win for the Bears. That's another game that the Bears in the last few years would have lost. So what a win for them. What a win for Ben Johnson and Caleb. We'll keep it in the same division here and go to the Minnesota Vikings win over the Detroit Lions. The Vikings get to 4-4. The Lions go to 5-3. And I mean, this might have been my second most shocking game of the day, because going into this, I was very low on JJ McCarthy. I thought he played one good quarter of football, week one, last fourth quarter. And he didn't necessarily light up the statue today, but he played winning football. And that's kind of what his thing was coming out of college. It was like, this guy's lost one time as a starter. It was the game to TCU, the college football playoff. Never lost at home. He just wins games. And that's exactly what he did. 14-25, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's not pretty. It's not, if you're box score watching, it's not pretty at all. I mean, he throws for 116 yards net because gets sacked 5 times, 27 yards. He won the game. And when the game, they got down to the end of the game, this was the play that kind of told me, like, this guy has, the moment doesn't affect him, because the Lions score to make it a 3-point game. There's 2 minutes left to go, and the Lions have 3 timeouts. So if they stop them on 3 consecutive plays, they're going to get the ball back. And I mean, I thought the Lions would have had a good chance to win the game. And it gets to third down and 5. And they trust O'Connell trusts McCarthy to drop back. And he throws a dime to Jalen Naylor. Jalen Naylor is heavily covered. He throws him a fade ball. Perfect throw towards the sideline. Only Naylor's going to catch it, back shoulder. And Naylor makes the play. The Vikings win and get a massive win. The NFC North it's a dogfight right now. It's an absolute dogfight. I mean, the Bears are sitting at 5-3. The Vikings are sitting at 4-4. The Lions are sitting at 5-3. The Packers lose again today. We'll talk about that game next. Just this division's wide open. It's who's going to make the plays in the big time moments. And McCarthy has shown the 2 times that his 2 wins. If the game is close at the end of the game, he has found a way to win both times. I think that's really, really impressive. He didn't necessarily light the stat sheet. I think a guy like Wentz is going to give his studs the ball more, but Wentz is going to make turnover plays, and Wentz is going to make game-losing plays. And for McCarthy to be as pressured as much as he was, let me see exactly how much that was for the Lions defense. 22 pressures, 5 sacks. Like, it's not like it was easy back there. He didn't have all day, but he played winning football. And I think that's what you want to see from a young quarterback. This is technically his rookie season to me. The stats will start to come. The big explosives will start to come. But if you have a guy that you trust in the clutch, I mean, that's all you can ask for in the NFL, quite honestly. Panthers, Packers. This was my absolute disaster of the day. And this just kind of proved, like, I don't really know what to do with the Packers, dude. Because how do you lose this football game to the Carolina Panthers? I do not understand. The Packers are sitting at 5-2-1, coming off a huge win against Pittsburgh, where your offense looks the best as it has all year. Like, that was the explosive Packers offense that I've been waiting to see. And you come back home game against Carolina and this is embarrassing. An embarrassing loss. Micah Parsons felt like a non-factor. They let Bryce Young drive down in the clutch. Rico Dowdle is, 25 for 130, 2 touchdowns. Like the insanity run's not over yet. They gave up 102 yards passing. They lost the game. Bryce Young was 11 for 20, 102 yards, 1 interception, and they lost the game. It's inexcusable. T-Mac 4 for 46 as they really get 1 for 22. But the Panthers found a way to win. They found a way to get it done. Bryce Young drove them down 9 plays, 40 yards. The game-clinching field goal after the Packers go on to score a touchdown to tie the game. And the Packers lose Tucker Kraft for the year with an ACL injury. That's brutal because he was starting to emerge and be their wide receiver 1 as a tight end. And now that's one more weapon gone for Jordan Love, who had been kind of his best weapon all year. To be honest, I don't think that's a crazy thing to say that Tucker Kraft was. Not at all. And on the Packers side, if you're as box score watching, it looks like these guys should have dominated. They just didn't get in the end zone. Jordan Love was 26 for 37, 273 yards, 1 interception. Josh Jacobs, 17 for 87 yards, got in the zone. Dobbs, 7 for 91. Like Christian Watson, 2 for 58 with a long one. And they end up losing this game. And Jordan Love, that one play where it's in the red zone, 4th and goal, and he runs around, shucks the ball up to the right side of the field. Should have been picked. Should have been, quite frankly, a pick 6. And the guy drops it, but it's still a turnover on downs. It feels like when he throws a turnover-worthy ball, it's bad. It's an ugly one. It's an absolute ugly one. He threw another interception on the day. I don't know how to feel about the Green Bay Packers. This should be a dominating win. You're at home against the Carolina Panthers, who, yes, they're sitting at 5-4 now. Really good for them. They just got embarrassed last week against Buffalo. Like, there's no excuse to lose to this team if you want to be a top-end football team. Not at all. Like, what a disaster for Matt LaFleur. And Jordan Love is a guy that I just don't know, because it's just no consistency at the quarterback position from him. He lights it up against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday night, and then comes back out and just puts up this absolute stinker. Just really disappointed in the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love specifically. Up next, the LA Chargers go to Tennessee and have a bit of a scary game against the Tennessee Titans. This was a game that could have been lost, and honestly, the bigger loss would have been from this game, even if they did find a way to lose, the loss of Joe Alt. Joe Alt is out for the season. Absolutely crushing. And it kind of changes my whole perspective on the Chargers just kind of for the rest of the year, because when he was out that few week stretch, just a completely different team. And it showed up. They struggled to run the football today. Kimani Vidal was 12 for 30. Jarrett Patterson was 9 for 44. Justin Herbert's your leading rusher with 57 yards, 9 carries, 1 touchdown. 30-yard rush was his long. It's a brutal loss. A team that had already lost Rashawn Slater preseason for the season. Now your 2 starting tackles that were supposed to be some of your best players on offense are out for the year. Just absolutely brutal for LA. And in this game, it wasn't easy for them. It was not easy for them at all. When they ended up winning 27-20, they get off to a little bit of a slow start. They go down 14-7 in the first quarter. And this is kind of just a Justin Herbert game. He had to will them to victory. It wasn't his prettiest game of all time either. He threw an interception, but he made some throws today that he had to make for them to win this game. The throw to Quentin Johnson for the touchdown was a huge one. That was one that he fit into a tight window. Quentin Johnson made a great catch. Rondé Gadsden continues his build on this huge rookie season he's having. 5 for 68 for him. Ladd goes 4 for 56. It's just kind of an ugly. This is one of those ugly road games. 10 a.m. slate for a West Coast team. Never going to be easy. The Titans, I'd say it was mainly their defense that kept them around in this game with the pick 6 that they had. And Cam Ward, 12 for 21, 145 yards. He sacked 4 times for 30 yards. Tony Pollard, 10 for 56. Nothing crazy sticks out for them, but they were in this game till the end, and they just didn't make the plays that they needed to make. Inability to put together good drives in the fourth quarter. They had a long 6-minute drive towards the end of the game in the third quarter where they only touched the ball 3 times in the second half, and you're down 3 of a long drive that ends with no points. They end up getting stuffed on 4th and goal at the 1. That's brutal. And then a rough 3 and out, and you get a field goal at the end to make it a 1-score game. You end up getting the ball back. Herbert ices the game like he has done multiple times this year. So, it's a Titans are a Titans. This is a game that I thought they were going to lose, and they did. They kept it closer than I thought. The defense hung around the good pick 6 that they had. But on the Chargers side, it's hard to look at this kind of with a positive outlook. You got the win, but I just don't see them having very much success as the season goes on without without Joe Alt because I mean we already saw it this year. It was not pretty, and it made things a lot harder for that offense. And it's going to just kind of be more reliant on Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's going to have to do even more than he has done all year. And I mean, I don't think that's a recipe for success if you're the LA Chargers. So unfortunate for them. Up next, another just classic Atlanta Falcons game, 24-23. Just disappointment. This franchise just continues to waste talent. Just the amount, it just constantly, absolutely, just it's just kind of a staple. I mean, this offense delivered today. Drake London, you can't say enough about what Drake London did today. 9 for 118 and 3 touchdowns. He was everything thrown his way was you would expect him to be caught. I mean, that play he has the fourth down when Atlanta's looking to tie it up. He's smothered and he sticks out his left palm and palms the ball in for a touchdown. And in the most Falcons fashion ever, they missed the extra point. And like, what can you even say anymore? What can you even say anymore? They end up getting the ball back with a chance to go down and take the lead with a field goal. And they decide to punt on 4th and 20. I mean, I guess I get it, but you didn't end up getting the ball back. You can just throw it up in Drake London's way. You know, who knows what had happened, but you can't get yourself in a 4th and 20 situation. Penix had an intentional grounding, which is kind of a weird situation because he thought he heard a whistle, dirted the ball on the ground. They ended up calling the grounding on that. I think it was a kind of a weird, ugly situation, to be honest. Really unlucky for him, but just didn't make the plays when they had to. And it's unfortunate on the Patriots side. The Patriots have continued to show that they're a pretty good team. I mean, they've won 6 games in a row, and I saw some tweets talking about the strength of schedule. Buffalo's kind of the only good team there, but they beat Carolina by 30, and Carolina has shown them they're an above average team. I'd say around average, middle of the pack. Beat New Orleans, beat Tennessee, beat Cleveland, beat Atlanta, but this is a close game that they won. And I mean, sometimes in the NFL, every team has some sort of quality on it, and something that I think is if you have a guy, if you've shown multiple times in 1 year, you have that clutch factor, you can beat anyone in the playoffs. And they've shown that they do. They won a close game against Buffalo on the road. They won a close game against New Orleans where it's New Orleans, but they had to make the plays to win that game. That's a losable game. And this game against Atlanta, I mean, you get a little lucky, but your team gets the ball back and ices the game and doesn't give Atlanta the ball back at the end with the chance to win it. That's quality. That's quality football right there. And Drake May, I mean, he's impressive. He's really, really impressive. And that's what I can say about it. I want to give a shout out to the Patriots defense too, because this was the defense early in the season. I was like, this is bad. And they've slowly started to figure it out. I mean, they hold Atlanta to Bijan has 50 yards rushing, 50 yards receiving, but they limited him on the ground. All year was 2 rushes for 6 yards. Hold Atlanta to 220 yards through the air. That's an explosive passing offense with explosive players. I'm kind of just done with Raheem Morris. He just looking at him on the sideline is just never encouraging at all. I'm done with Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator. I can't watch this offense anymore. It is so just stagnant. No gimmicks. Nothing helpful at all. It's bad. It is really, really bad. It's just frustrating to watch because it's a team with so much talent on offense, and they just looks like they make things so hard on themselves. They make things so much harder on themselves than they need to be with the type of talent they have on offense. Next, the San Francisco 49ers go into New York and take down the Giants. And before this going into this game, I had kind of weird vibes going in this one because Vegas set the line as the Giants were just kind of short underdogs. I think they're sitting at plus 120, about 2-point dogs, which is kind of weird because this is a 5-2 Niners football team. This is a Giants team that just lost Scottaboo. Kind of felt like all their momentum was gone that they had built up from that Eagles win. It kind of decimated from that Broncos loss, and they get whooped last week against Philly. But they're winning this game as short underdogs. And I was like, are we going to see something come out in a closer game than expected? And the Giants got off to a hot start. They went out their opening drive, and Theo Johnson caught a touchdown pass from Jackson Dart. And they were up 7-0, and the Niners, they didn't fret. This told me a lot about Mac Jones. Mac Jones is, I mean, I saw a thing that said Purdy's turf toe injury is, they're not going to rush him back. It's going to be something that is going to be lingering with him all year if he does decide to play. They don't need to rush him back at all. Mac Jones went at 19 for 24, 2 touchdowns. And Mac Jones is likable. Mac Jones, a lot of the 49ers fan base has fallen in love with Mac Jones. He's doing a lot of things just right. I feel like that Purdy doesn't always necessarily do. I mean, he played fantastic today. 19 for 24, 235 yards. He's doing exactly, I'll say week in and week out, he's doing exactly what Shanahan wants him to do. Exactly. And Christian McCaffrey is seemingly the only 49er that's staying healthy because Michael Williams, their first round pick, out for the year with an ACL injury. Christian McCaffrey touches the ball 28 carries, 106 yards, 5 receptions, 67 yards, 6 targets. I mean, he's the only guy that's healthy and contributing right now, and you might as well. I mean, for them to win games, this is what he kind of has to do. He has to carry this massive, massive workload. But I mean, he's doing it so far, and they need him to. So they go to LA next week. That's a really interesting one because the Niners are sitting at 6-3, the Rams are sitting at 6-2. So, and they already beat them once. So if they beat them twice, that tiebreaker gets real interesting because that's 2 divisional losses for LA, and they have the Seahawks coming to town the week after that. So that's a big game for the Rams. And the Niners are hosting them, so they have to go to 2 Levi's to play them that game. From the Giants' point of view, you can tell they missed Scatteroo. I mean, Dart was a leading rusher, 8 for 56. Devin Singletary, 8 for 43. Tyrone Tracy, 5 for 18. They just didn't. Kind of the juice is gone. Dart doesn't have any receivers to throw to. Dart doesn't have anyone to hand the ball off to. You got to feel for him because he's out there taking a beating. I mean, he puts up a decent stat line. Honestly, he's kept the ball out of harm's way, which is something he kind of struggled with in the past. 190 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and on the ground runs for 1 and 2, and runs for 50 yards on 8 rushes. So he's doing all he can, but I don't know if Dable's going to be around next year to kind of develop him, which is unfortunate for him because it seems like they have a decent relationship. But I mean, what are we putting out on the field? They got the Bears next week. That's a winnable game. And after that, it gets pretty rough. You got the Packers, Lions, Patriots. There's not a lot of wins on the menu, and it's hard to keep a coach around when it's a few years in a row of just kind of bad and mediocre performances. Up next, Colts at Steelers. This was a game that really surprised me because the Colts. I mean, this was kind of just old Daniel Jones coming back and kind of haunting the Colts because there was every reason they should have won this game. I have to give props to the Steelers because they kept Jonathan Taylor in check. Jonathan Taylor was the offensive player of the year favorite. 14 carries, 45 yards. That's his worst game of the year by a mile. Doesn't get in the end zone. They stopped him heavily on the ground, and you got to give him props because that was obviously like kind of the game plan. Stop Jonathan Taylor and force Daniel Jones into some mistakes, and that's exactly what they did. He turned the ball over 5 times, which is absolutely inexcusable. 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles. His worst game of the season by far. New York Giants, Daniel Jones comes out, and that's kind of like, I've admitted that the Colts were like, obviously they're a very good football team, but just kind of thinking about it, like when I look at this team, they are playing great, but I always think that there's a little bit of a possibility that this Daniel Jones could come out and they could force it out in a huge game. I mean, this wasn't, Colts are 7-2, like they're going to be fine. I trust that they'll bounce back at least a little bit. But just the fact that this possibility is there is kind of just the scary thing for Colts fans right now. Going into trying to make a playoff run, this is the thing that you do not want to think about. Because I mean, he played well. I mean, it's hard to say he played well besides the turnovers, but he did. I mean, he threw for 342 yards. He got his guys the ball. I mean, Alec Pierce goes for 115 yards. Michael Pittman goes for 115. Josh Downs 57. Warren goes 5 for 26. So kind of a lackluster game from him, but they played from behind all day. They put themselves in a hole. They were down 24-10, 24-7, going stop the start of the fourth quarter, and they scored, but they also threw an interception in the fumble in the fourth quarter and a chance when they almost had a chance to come back and win the game. They ended up making a 7-point game because of late scores, but you can't turn the ball over 5 times expect to win the game. It's just not realistic at all. And their defense, they did their job. They limited the Pittsburgh rushing attack. Warren had 31 yards rushing, and he got in the end zone twice, but Rodgers only threw for 200 yards. Like on the stat sheet, they dominated them, but you can't turn the ball over 5 times and win NFL football games, especially on the road, especially going into Pittsburgh. This is a big win for Pittsburgh coming off an embarrassing loss at home to come back and beat arguably the best team in the league. In this one, it's huge. It's huge for them to trying to get back on track. And they travel to SoFi this weekend to face the Chargers. It's a decimated Chargers team. Just kind of getting destroyed by injuries. I think I'm kind of leaning toward Pittsburgh's way early, just early looking at that one. But huge win for them on the Colts side. You're going to be okay, but this is not what you wanted to see. You did not want to see this part of Daniel Jones come out at all this season. Broncos at Texans. This was an ugly one. This was an absolutely ugly game to watch. CJ Stroud goes down with the concussion. It was an ugly look. I don't think it was necessarily like a super dirty play. I think it was definitely, he hit him in the chest to start with that. He hit him in the chest, and the main part of it came from like Stroud's head whiplashing on the ground. which was hard. It was an ugly hit to watch. But Stroud, I thought it was a late slide. I thought it was a pretty poor slide. It wasn't like a slide forward. It was more of a falling down on the ground. And the guy's running full speed now. He's trying to stop from getting the first down. Unfortunate. But on to the football game part of it, just ugly. 18-15. Denver scores 11 points in the fourth quarter. This is 2 games that they have scored a multitude of points in the fourth quarter to kind of come back and win because they were losing this game. They went down. They were down 12-7 at halftime. They're down 15-7 going into the fourth quarter, and they put up 11 points and find a way to win at the end of the game. It was Davis Mills, but I didn't think Davis Mills played horrible. I didn't think he was a problem necessarily with the Texans. Texans offense is kind of it's a broken record. I mean, there's not one exact person that's the problem with it. And it's not like CJ Stroud is necessarily holding them together playing a fantastic football either. Because, I mean, he wasn't. The offensive line bad. They have no ability to run the football. Nick Chubb runs for 34 yards and 11 carries. Woody Marks 10 for 27. I feel like I've seen that stat line like 4 times this season, just looking at them. They're still using both running backs. Neither of them is finding success. They both have a long run of 8 and 7 yards. Like, that's just horrible. Dalton Schultz, their leading receiver again. This is the second time this season that's happened, 6 for 77. Nico Collins, 7 for 75. So he has a little bit of an impact, but they fail to get in the end zone. And that has been their kryptonite all year because Tommy Fairbairn made 5 field goals today. He missed 1, but your kicker should not be kicking 5 field goals. It just, you eventually have to find something to get done in the red zone. On the first drive of the game, this is just exactly like their second drive of the game because they missed a field goal on the first drive of the game. Denver missed a field goal. They get the ball back. They get the ball to the 1-yard line and 3 0-yard runs. You have a penalty and you have to kick a field goal. That should never happen. And this is multiple times this has happened because against the Tampa Bay game on Monday Night Football, it happened as well. You can't be an NFL team and have such an inability to punch the ball in from the 1-yard line. How do you not have a play? How do you not just have how can you not execute a quarterback sneak to get in the end zone? It doesn't make any sense. It is so frustrating to watch. If I was a Texans fan, I'd want to pull my hair out because this just shouldn't happen. Stroud they have some success red zone to red zone, but you can't be an NFL football team and want to be a good NFL football team and be so poor and have such a deficiency in the red zone. It's just awful. On the Broncos side, it wasn't pretty, but it's a win. And Bo Nix showed he was clutch at the end of the game. He throws the interception earlier. The safety kind of comes out of nowhere, a bit of an underthrown ball, but 6 plays, 48 yards to get him in the field goal range and win the game. He had a 25-yard run where he escapes the pocket and gets them all the way up to the Houston 36. That kind of gets them in their mode, and then they can just run the ball, and get the field goal. So they're sitting at 7-2. They won 6 in a row. They're hot right now. And what did I say earlier? Like, they're finding ways to win close games. And that's what you want to see. Their defense is playing well. They have an elite defense. And their quarterback has now done it multiple times this season. Found a way to win a close game and drive his team down at the end of the game. And that's a promising sign if you're a Denver fan. On to the afternoon slate, Jaguars at Raiders. This ended up being kind of a fun game, especially for a game that was 6-3 at halftime. And the score ends 30-29 Jacksonville. And this was funny. Kind of just the epitome of the Raiders season. Because Geno actually played solid. I mean, he threw an interception. He threw 4 touchdowns, 284 yards. This is probably his best game since maybe week 1, to be honest. And they couldn't really run the ball. It was kind of all him and Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers comes back and the offense is successful, which is big for them because you want something. You want to see Brock Bowers play well. And in his first 2 games of the season, he was kind of a non-factor. So I'm happy that Chip was able to get him the ball. 12 receptions, 127 yards, 3 touchdowns. Had like 43 fantasy points. Was a reliable guy in the red zone. And that's good because the Raiders don't have a number 1 receiver. So like early in the season, it was really frustrating to see them not get the ball into Brock Bowers. Because it's not like you have a stud number 1 wide receiver that you're forcing the ball to. Jacoby Myers has been lackluster. Trey Tucker is more of a deep threat guy, not a red zone guy. They're struggling to run the ball in the red zone. They're struggling to run the ball in general. I mean, Genti had 40 rushing yards today. So there was no reason that Brock Bowers should not have been this guy in the games he played this season. So it was good to see that. And just the ending of this game is just the epitome of the Raiders. Quite frankly, it is. Because Geno put them in position to win this game like 3 times in the fourth quarter. They're going down 13-9. He drives down quickly and gets a score, go up 3. Trevor Lawrence goes and scores and puts them up 4. It's just back and forth. These 2 teams going back and forth, dicing in the fourth. If you're looking at these drives, touchdown, 4 touchdown drives in a row, and then Lawrence drives them down. And they kick a 48-yard field goal to tie the game. I thought he was going to miss that for sure. Cam Little makes the 68-yarder before half. That was pretty cool. And I was like, I had a feeling he was going to miss it. And it snuck in by the upright. And they get to overtime, and the Jags go down and score. And Geno drives the Raiders down the field to score 20 seconds to go in the game. He hits Brock Bowers, and they go for two. I think going for two is the right call. It's kind of unfortunately like that's how it has to end because the Raiders are in the advantage in this situation. The Jaguars score, they score a touchdown, and if the Raiders score a touchdown, there's no point in kicking an extra point to tie, especially as a bad football team. There's no point in you tying a game because they could have, but it doesn't matter. And Geno tries to go to Tyler Lockett, who was signed off the street last week after asking for his release from the Titans. And Tyler Lockett is wide open. And if you look around the screen, Genty's wide open on a flat on the bottom right hand side of the screen. Jacoby Myers is open on a slant in the middle. And Tyler Lockett is butt naked on the back of the end zone, running the back of the end zone. And Geno has him, and the defensive lineman jumps up and bat tilts his right arm. Just the win was right there for Vegas, and it was just snatched from them again. And I mean, I wouldn't really say it's Geno's fault. Kind of unlucky. Great play by the D lineman, but just kind of a classic Raiders football game this year. And a big win for the Jaguars because they had to get back on track. Back-to-back losses to the NFC West, an embarrassing loss last week. So it's a poor Raiders team, but it's a win's a win in the NFL, and that's good for them, especially kind of just in the whole AFC playoff picture. To get to 5-3 is a great spot for them. Up next, Saints at Rams. Tyler Shuck's first NFL football game. Can't say I watched a whole lot of this game. It's not like a Shuck or a Rattler thing. I think the Saints are just really poorly run. Shuck was 15 for 24, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Saints can't run the football. They should trade Kamara. I don't think they will. 6 for 14 yards. Like Taysom Hill ran the ball 4 times as their leading rusher at 30 yards. Had a 29-yard run. So on his other 3 runs, he has 1 collective yard. Rashid Shaheed had a good day, 5 for 68, up in that trade value. Olave, 3 for 57, just kind of like this team's just really, really bad. And this is a good Rams team, one of the best teams in the NFC, but this team's bad. Like I can't watch the Saints. I don't think Shuck's necessarily the quarterback of the future either. I think they're going to be really bad, and they're going to draft the quarterback in round 1, whoever that may be. So it's not like, and he's also older than Spencer Rattler. It's not like this is some young guy that they can like look to build on. Whoever they're playing, like they have an opportunity to be good, and it's not like I don't think Shuck's going to go out there and light the world up. I was not a huge Tyler Shuck guy. I was really hoping the Seahawks wouldn't draft him, but they didn't. So I'm happy with that. But that's all I got there. Puka goes down with a chest injury. You got to hope he's going to be okay because he had just gotten healthy again and already banged up like that. So that's unfortunate for them. But yeah, let's go to the Chiefs-Bills game. And in this game, I said it last week. Allen owns Mahomes in the regular season, and Mahomes owns him in the playoffs. But I still said pick the Chiefs, and it just still proved true. And you got to give a shout out to the Buffalo Bills defense because this is Patrick Mahomes' maybe his worst game in the NFL. I mean, by completion percentage, he was 15 to 34. I saw something. He hasn't had a completion percentage under 50% since his first year at Texas Tech when he came in as relief, and they lost the game by like 50 points. And he was like 13 of 20 something. He didn't even start the game. And the Bills completely neutralized him. Bills defense coordinator Bobby Babick completely neutralized Patrick Mahomes. 15 to 34, 250 yards, 1 interception. Did not throw a touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 11 for 49, no Pacheco in this game. Rashid Rice ran for a touchdown, 2 for 6 yards. Rashid Rice is 4 for 80. He had been a huge volume guy, and they kind of stopped that. Hollywood Brown, 2 for 73. This was kind of the sequence when I felt like the Chiefs were not going to win this game. Right before half, Mahomes throws an absolute bomb after the Chiefs go down 11. And Hollywood Brown gets tackled at the 1-yard line. And they could, with 20 seconds to go, 1st and goal at the 1, they could not punch it in. And they chose to kick the field goal from the 1-yard line. I think I probably would have went for it. I don't know how they ran the ball 1 time, used their last time out because they only had 1 left, and 2 incomplete passes, tries to force one into Kelsey. I didn't like the calling by Reed. I think you got to get Mahomes on the move, I know Mahomes isn't the quarterback sneak type of guy. You got to have something you can do there. I know they do the Noah Gray thing sometimes. I kind of would rather have that. If you're on the 1-inch line, I like a sneak a lot more than the power run to Kareem Hunt. I know Kareem Hunt's a great goal line back, but in a situation with 1 timeout, even that last play to half, if you want to go Kareem Hunt on 1st and goal, okay, run it. 3 points isn't going to win you a game against the Buffalo Bills and like a good football team and a good team in the playoffs. You need a touchdown there, especially when you're down 11. If the game's tied, that's a completely different situation. If you're down 11, you need a touchdown there. I would have liked to see them on 4th and goal. You can run the ball. On 4th and goal, you can do whatever you want. It's the last play of the half, and they decided not to. But I mean, I can't say enough about the Buffalo Bills defense. I want to look at these pressure numbers because it seemed like they were absolutely flying around. And what they were doing, Joey Bosa had, I mean, he turned back the clock during this game. He had 9 pressures, 1 sack, but he was in Mahomes' face all day. All day. Only 4 sacks, but 28 pressures total from the Buffalo Bills. AJ Epinesa had 3. Dorian Williams had 2. 8 from Greg Russo. It was dominant. It was they smothered this offense that had been looked unstoppable up until this game. The Chiefs are now sitting at 5-4, and those 2 back-to-back losses early in the season. I don't know if I'd say they're coming back to bite them, but they're looking at a spot where they might have to be a wild card team if they don't get hot and the Broncos lose some games. And even if they do get hot, they don't control their own destiny to win this division that they have absolutely dominated since the Mahomes era started. And speaking, I mean, they got a huge game in Denver in 2 weeks. They have a bye week this weekend, and that's going to be a big one. If they want any chance to win this division, they have to win that game. And they got Indianapolis after that, Dallas, Houston, Chargers, Tennessee, Denver. It does not get easy, but this is kind of a shocking game to see, to be honest. Because if the Chiefs lost this game, I thought it was going to be more on the defensive side. And Allen he played a fantastic game. They put up 28 points. But the defense kind of got stops in the fourth quarter when they needed to. And the Chiefs offense didn't capitalize. I mean, and they have all their weapons back. There was no one out, and Pacheco was out, but that doesn't impact the passing game. Had been an explosive passing team all season, and the Buffalo Bills neutralized them. So I mean, this is a good sign for them for the playoffs. You'd think so, but it always seems to be a different game come playoff time. But I mean, props to Buffalo, man, because this was really, really impressive. This was, I mean, probably the best performance of the week, maybe besides the Seahawks. The Seahawks dominated the Commanders, but really good for them. Really good for them. They got James Cook involved. I mean, it seems like every Buffalo big win correlates with a James Cook having a big day on the ground. Josh Allen was great, 23 to 26, 273, 1 touchdown. James Cook had 114 yards rushing. Josh Allen ran in 2 touchdowns. Dalton Kincaid, he's kind of just Allen's kind of safety net. It's kind of another team like the Packers. They don't really have that true reliant number 1 receiver, but he trusts Kincaid. Kincaid seems to be his big down guy. And other than that, he spreads the rock around. I mean, just looking at it, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys caught a ball. Khalil Shakir, that kind of reliable underneath guy, 7 for 43 with along with 28 targets. Dawson Knox caught a ball. Elijah Moore caught a ball, each for 30 yards. It was well spread around. Allen was playing ball, and they relied on James Cook. That is the recipe to a Buffalo Bills victory, and they got pressure on the quarterback, and just a huge win for Buffalo at home. So yeah, a fun week around the league. I'm gonna touch on some things that happened in the college world on Saturday. A lot of teams lose. A lot of ranked teams lose. The Washington Huskies are now ranked in the top 25, sitting at 24. Go to Wisconsin this week, 11.5-point favorites on the road. It was upset central. A lot of people in that 15 to 25 range lost. Miami, probably the biggest loss of the week because it's hard to say if Miami's on the outside looking in. It'll be interesting because the first college football playoff ranking list comes out on Tuesday. So we'll talk about that Thursday, the implications there. I'll see if I agree with everything that's there. But now Miami's lost 2 games in the last 3. This was their first game outside of Florida. They ended up losing. And I don't know if this is a playoff team right now. They're sitting at number 18. I wonder will they be in the playoff bracket because are they going to be above Notre Dame? That's 2 2-loss teams, and they beat Notre Dame. But Notre Dame's above them in the AP poll. But the playoff people tend to rank it differently based on stuff like that. Georgia Tech loses 48 to 36. That's another team in the ACC. They kind of get embarrassed by NC State on the road. And so what happens there? In the ACC, it's anyone's game. It's anyone's game. Oklahoma beats Tennessee, kind of an embarrassing loss from Tennessee, puts them out of it. And Oklahoma's in a spot where they got some tough games to finish, but if they win out, they have to be in the playoffs. They go to Alabama in 2 weeks. They have a week off before that game. That's going to be a big one. That's a game that they beat Alabama last year with a much worse team. They're fighting for their playoff lives, and who knows? A team like that is dangerous. I'd say they have nothing to lose at this point. Oklahoma does, especially going into that game. Utah beats Cincinnati. They kind of embarrassed them. Was kind of expecting that for game day. Michigan, not the most convincing win over Purdue, but a win's a win, and they continue to stay ranked in a spot where they can make the playoffs if they win out and beat Ohio State. Texas beats Vandy. Was never really close. Vandy makes it close towards the end and makes it a 3-point game. I mean, that's kind of it overall. Georgia sweeps by Florida. Excited for this coming up week. Huskies going to Wisconsin. They're in a spot, win 3 games in a row, and you're in a playoff game practically. Number 8 BYU versus number 9 Texas Tech. That's a huge game for Big 12 implications. Texas Tech is 10.5-point favorites at home. BYU kind of feels like every game like they're supposed to lose this one. They find a way to win. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how they respond there. Oregon versus Iowa. That's a huge game because Iowa is kind of flying under the radar, kind of like the Huskies there. They're sitting at unranked, but if they win out and beat Oregon and USC, who knows what happens there? LSU, Alabama, that should be an Alabama victory. Notre Dame, Navy. This is kind of Notre Dame's last. It's hard to say tough game. I mean, they got Pitt next week. That'll be an interesting one. But I mean, Navy just lost against North Texas last week. Kind of eliminates themselves from any sort of contention there. But should be interesting. Recording this night before Monday Night Football. Sorry for the delay on the episode. Going to get this out. Trade deadline tomorrow. I don't know. It feels like something's due to happen. Been a lot of smoke, and no one's really done anything except the Philadelphia Eagles. It feels like everyone's waiting for that big bomb to drop. Trade deadline's at 1:00. I mean, I'm excited. We'll talk about it Thursday. I mean, hopefully the Seahawks are going to make a move. I think I'm going to post my power rankings on my TikTok. So go ahead and follow that Diego Colley FB show on over there. I'll post on Instagram too. Same username there. But thanks for listening. Sorry for the delay. Hopefully we got some big news to talk about trade deadline on Thursday, and I'll see you guys then.